Welcome to the first official full coffee break of the 2022-2023 school year. And as you know, I have made no bones about the fact that I plan on this being my last year before I retire. So you will hear me say this from time to time. This is my last first video. I'll try not to rub that in too often. A couple of things that I want to make you aware of as we move forward before kids get in the building. A couple of things that we're going to try to do to help be more proactive with our students than maybe we've done in the past. They're not new things, just the way that we're going to try to implement them may be a bit new. So what we are hoping is that as you get to know your students, and as your class begins and you begin to start dealing with, certain ones, hopefully not the first day or the first week, but, a couple of months down the road when discipline problems may start. We want you to make us aware that those things are happening before you have to get to the place where a referral is written. We would love to be able to deal with that in a little different way. And if you do write a referral, if you've got a kid who's sleeping in class or talking out of turn or whatever, the first thing that we're going to try to do is be restorative with that student. So that student will be meeting with Mr. Lethgo. That student may meet with Mr. Lethgo and with me. And the purpose of that meeting will be to try to ascertain what it is that's going on in that student's life that may lead them to this behavior. And if we can unearth that would be a wonderful experience for everyone involved. The other side of that is that it may lead to where I feel like, as the administrator over Fullcom, that we need to have a restorative conference between that student and you as the teacher. And so in that conference, what we hope would be accomplished is that both you and the student, with a third party present, have an opportunity to be heard. That's the whole point, is that you are able to express what's going on inside of you and your expectations for the classroom in a place where that student, where we can really tell if that student is hearing you or not. But we also want, we also want to be in a place where you are able, with a third party present, to really, truly hear what this student is trying to tell you. And not just settle for, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. That doesn't really get us anywhere restoratively. But if we can come to some type of understanding between the two of you, one of the 7 habits of highly effective people is to seek first to understand. And we want you to be able to demonstrate how that operates in seeking to understand the student's behavior in a way that will help the student learn how to seek to understand why this is a problem in your class. So that's one thing that's going to happen. You're going to find that we're going to be doing a lot more restorative interventions along the way than maybe we have in the past. We're not just going to jump directly into the first line of you're going to spend the day in Restorative Learning Center, or you're going to spend the day in ATS, or you're going home for the day. We're going to try to work with that student in a way that allows them the opportunity to see that we are truly concerned about who they are as a human being. The other thing that's going to happen, if you look through the student handbook and you scroll down toward the end where it comes to the section of discipline guidelines, you're going to see scattered throughout in different areas along the way a lot of S teams. Typically in the past, we have saved S teams for when we're going to have a disciplinary hearing where a student might be suspended for 5 days or more, or an S team when a student has had too many absences, or an S team if somebody feels like the student might need to be tested for an IEP, whether there's a disability or whether that child's gifted or whatever, or if we need to move into a 504 plan. And we've sort of relegated it all over there. But what we want to do is to create a team, an absolute team of as many of the student's teachers as possible, the student, myself, Mr. Lethko, Miss Kelly, and a parent, to come together, talk about what's happening. Is the student sleeping every day in your classroom? Is the student 15 minutes late every day in your classroom? Is the student spending 30 minutes in the bathroom every day in your classroom? I mean, what are these issues that that we might be able to create a plan that would help that student to be more successful with the help of the parent? That's what we intend to try. More restorative conferences, more S teams, more attempts to get on the student's level and really try to understand what are the mitigating circumstances that's causing this behavior, rather than just throwing a disciplinary action at that student. We want students to love school. And I was one of those kids. I love school. If I could retire and go back to being a full-time student, I would do that till I die. I just love school. I everything about it. But most of our kids don't love school. And somewhere along the way, they may have loved it when they were small. Somewhere along the way, it has escaped them. And we want them to see that school is a safe place, it's a nurturing place, it's a caring place, and a place where they can truly learn to be successful. So I look forward to working with you this year and trying to come to grips with some of those things, and maybe setting a new pattern of events for the way that we deal with kids in our SLC. That doesn't mean they're all going to get off scot-free. Don't think that we're not going to go to ATS or out of school suspension if that's what's called for. I just don't want to start there. I don't want to make that the first thing out of the block. So, with that in mind, I hope that you get a lot of rest this weekend, that we will start the first day of school on Monday.